Good afternoon, dear students, and welcome back to our today's online class. We are studying about chapter 12, friction. And this friction we have already learned or discussed in our previous chapter, push and pull, chapter 12. We learned over there that friction is a kind of force. So let us discuss in detail about friction in this chapter. So friction. What is friction? Friction is a force acting between two surfaces that are sliding or rolling over each other. So when two surfaces they come in contact with each other, and when they slide or roll over each other, then a force called friction acts between them. Let us try to understand friction by taking this example. So in this picture, there is a man who is trying to push a stone block on the surface. Let us see what are those surfaces, two surfaces. So the lower portion of the stone block acts as one surface, and the ground acts as the other surface. Now the man tries to push the stone block so that he can move. So which force is he applying? He is applying push force. And his push force, the direction of the push force is away from him. So this in this direction. So the stone block also tries to move in the same direction, and that is called motion. So when the man applies push force away from him, the stone block tries to move in the same direction, and this movement is called motion of the block. But since now these two surfaces they are in contact with each other over here, there acts a force, and that force is called force of friction, or in simple term friction. So a friction acts opposite to the direction of motion. Therefore it becomes little difficult for us to push the heavier object. Why it becomes difficult? Because when we push things or pull things, which type of force acts? Frictional force acts, which opposes the motion. Now let us try to see nature of friction. Friction always acts opposite to the direction of motion of an object. If the motion is from north to south, then the direction of friction will be from south to north, that is in the opposite direction. Let's try to see that. Say suppose we have these two objects. Now if the upper object moves in this direction, then these two surfaces are in contact. Therefore between these two surfaces a frictional force acts, and the direction of frictional force will be opposite to the direction of motion. This is another diagram to illustrate the first nature of friction. It is opposite to the direction of motion of an object. It slows down motion. Friction always slows down motions, and at the end it always tries to bring the moving object to stop, to halt. So friction first slows down the object, and finally it brings down the object to rest, or it makes the object stop. Smoother the surface, lesser will be the friction, and rougher the surface, more will be the friction. Therefore if the surfaces are smooth, there will be less friction, whereas if the surfaces are rough, then there will be more friction, which is very clear from these two pictures. In these two pictures, in A, the surfaces are smooth. What are those two surfaces? The skating blade and the snow. Both snow and skating blade are smooth. Therefore, the movement of the skier is very fast. The skier moves very fast on the snowing field. Whereas in B, here the surfaces are rough, because here the ground is not made of snow. It is a dry land, and the person is also not wearing skating board or skiing board. He is wearing his shoe. So both the surfaces are rough. Therefore, his movement on the rough land will be slow. The reason is, in A, because the surfaces are smooth, there is less friction, so motion in the forward direction will be fast. Whereas in B, since the surfaces are rough, there will be more friction, and this more friction opposes the motion. Therefore, the speed of the person or the boy will be slow. Hence, we can say that smoother the surface, lesser will be the friction, and rougher the surface, more will be the friction. And what does a friction do? It opposes motion, slows down the motion, and brings the object to rest. So this is the basic introduction of friction, and these are some of the important natures of friction. And these natures of friction are very useful in our everyday to-day life. So with this, we end our today's class, and based on today's learning, you have 3 questions over here as your assignment 7. Question number 1, what is friction? Question number 2, what is the direction of friction? What is the direction of friction? Number 3, what does a friction do? So these are the 3 questions. Please think over these questions. You will find all these answers in our today's video only, and you can also refer to your book. You'll get this in page number 125, okay, in your textbook. This much for today, boys. Stay safe and do all things well.